Hey, it's Arjun, CEO of doola.com, a business in a box for e-commerce businesses. Doola is a venture-backed startup here in New York City that has successfully raised over $13 million of venture capital from some of the world's best investors, including Y Combinator, Nexus Venture Partners, HubSpot Ventures, and notable angels like Cody Sanchez, Graham Stephan, Sahil Bloom, and more. I promise you, by the end of this video, I'm going to walk through and you will understand how to activate Shopify Payments as a non-U.S. citizen and resident. So to cut to the chase, it is possible. I'm going to walk through how. The way I'm going to cover this is first I'll explain why an LLC is critical for an e-commerce business, especially for a non-U.S. citizen or resident on Shopify. I'm then going to walk through the eligibility, so the exact requirements you'll need to actually get this set up and get successfully activated on Shopify Payments. I'll then run through the essentials, a little checklist to review the key information. I'll go through step by step on how to actually start the process for LLC formation. And then I'll cover the final step, which is setup and activation on Shopify. Without further ado, let's dive in. Let's first start by understanding Shopify Payments eligibility for your e-commerce LLC. Shopify Payments streamlines online transactions by removing the need for a third-party payment gateway. However, it's not universally acceptable, and it requires your e-commerce business to meet very specific eligibility criteria. So these are the key requirements for non-U.S. residents. As a non-U.S. resident and an e-commerce LLC owner, you're going to need to fulfill additional requirements to use Shopify Payments in the U.S. And let me run through those key considerations. The first is operating your business in a Shopify-supported country. You'll then need to establish a U.S.-based business entity, like an LLC. You're going to need to provide U.S. banking details and identification. So for example, let's say you're looking to start a U.S. business from the U.K. With Shopify, it's going to be really important to understand the requirements and guidelines along with the tax obligations to avoid any non-compliance penalties in the future. So what exactly will you need for Shopify Payments? To activate Shopify Payments as a non-U.S. resident, here's the quick checklist of the essentials. The first is a U.S.-based business entity, which is a registered e-commerce LLC in the U.S. You'll need an EIN or employer identification number. This is a number that's issued by the IRS for tax purposes. You'll also need a U.S. business bank account, and that's to receive Shopify Payments. You'll need valid identification, which is a government-issued photo ID, and your EIN or ITIN number, and I'll get back to that. And you'll also likely need a physical U.S. address. Proof of business presence, such as a lease or utility bill, I'll come back to this too. Having all of these elements in place will ensure that you comply with Shopify's requirements, and it positions your business for smooth transactions and way more trust with customers and ultimately access to the huge U.S. consumer market. Now let's jump into establishing a U.S.-based business entity. The first step in setting up Shopify Payments is forming a U.S.-based LLC. Now, this is important because an LLC not only meets Shopify's requirements, but it provides limited liability protection, as in the name LLC, and it really simplifies your tax obligations. So step one of this process is going to be choosing the right state. Some states are more business-friendly than others, and popular states for LLC formation include Delaware, Wyoming, and Florida due to their favorable regulations. Now, one other table I actually want to show you is a table that can help you choose the right state. As a quick recap, if you live outside the U.S., you can actually choose any state in the U.S. to decide where to form your LLC. Now at Doola, we've worked with over 10,000 businesses, many of them non-U.S. founders. The most popular states we see are typically Delaware and Wyoming and Florida. To just cut to the chase and give you my recommendation, I'd say Wyoming. It's as prestigious as Delaware. The first LLC was created there. It's cheaper than Delaware in terms of annual fees, $60 versus $300. And it's really friendly for e-commerce businesses. It's also an anonymous state, meaning your information doesn't go on the public record. So if you want a recommendation, I'd say just pick Wyoming. But you can't go wrong with other states. If you want the prestige of Delaware or you want to choose Florida, you can go ahead and do that. But a lawyer will tell you the 3 things you shouldn't do. I'll tell you the 1 thing you should do. I recommend Wyoming. Step 2 is going to be naming your e-commerce LLC. Please select a unique, memorable name that complies with your chosen state's naming rules, so you can do a quick search online to make sure the name isn't taken. You want to make sure here that it aligns with your e-commerce brand. Step 3, you're going to need to appoint a registered agent. Every e-commerce LLC is required to have a registered agent, which is a vital player in keeping your business compliant and connected with the state. Think of the registered agent as the liaison, or your LLC's official go-to person or company for receiving critical legal and state documents. Step 4, you'll need to file formation documents. You'll have to submit the articles of organization or equivalent to the chosen state's business authority along with necessary fees. The document formally registers your LLC, and it includes very important information such as your LLC name, your purpose of business, your official business address, and your registered agent details. Once approved, congratulations, your e-commerce LLC is officially established. Now let me cover obtaining an employer identification number, or EIN. First, let me break down what an EIN is. An EIN is kind of like the social security number for your business, and it's crucial for tax reporting and required for opening a U.S. business bank account. Non-U.S. residents can apply for an EIN through the IRS by submitting what's called Form SS4. So let me just debunk this as well. You can get an EIN as a non-U.S. resident. Unfortunately, it takes a bit longer because you have to fax a form to the IRS. Now, you can DIY this process, or Doola can help do it for you, saving you time and effort. We can even expedite the process for you. Hey, before we head into the second half of the video, I want to quickly share why my company Doola can help you start and scale your dream business from anywhere in the world. Doola is the ultimate business in a box, and we help you from formation to bookkeeping to taxes. We help take care of the back office so you can focus on what you do best while Doola handles the rest. If you're just looking to start a business, you can choose a formation package that includes registration for your LLC in all 50 states, an EIN, an operating agreement, a registered agent, a virtual business address, and full access to the Doola community. And if you have an existing business, you can choose a package that includes dedicated bookkeeping from a human bookkeeper, tax filings for your business from certified CPAs, and free CPA consultations. So whether you're just getting started or just looking to scale, Doola is with you every step of the way. So if you're looking to level up your business, head over to doola.com. You can schedule a free consultation today and get a free demo with the Doola team. Next up, let's run through opening a U.S. business bank account. A U.S. business bank account is essential to receive payouts from Shopify Payments. Now, when you apply for your bank account, banks are going to require the following: your LLC formation documents, your EIN or employer identification number, valid government-issued ID, which is typically going to be a passport as a non-U.S. resident, and proof of a physical U.S. address, a utility bill or lease agreement. Now, if visiting a bank in the U.S. isn't feasible, there are online banks that cater to non-residents, providing a very convenient alternative. One example is Mercury. We have a direct partnership with them as well, so you could use them and apply from actually outside the U.S. without living in the U.S. You're going to need to also provide necessary identification. Shopify requires valid identification to verify your business. So as a non-U.S. resident, you're going to need the following: a government-issued photo ID, your passport or equivalent. I always recommend a passport. You'll need your tax identification number, so an EIN for your business, or an ITIN for individuals. Now, an ITIN is an individual tax per identification number. We've created videos breaking down the difference between an EIN and an ITIN. Now, we've actually heard from some customers that Shopify is requiring an ITIN for certain individuals. If an ITIN is required, let's also break this down too. It is possible as a non-U.S. resident to get an ITIN. This is a service Doola actually offers. We can help with this. However, it might open up potential tax scenarios which wouldn't be present without the ITIN. So these documents are really important for ensuring compliance with Shopify's requirements. That's why you need them. Now, I want to directly touch on verifying physical presence in the U.S. While you don't necessarily need to live in the U.S., Shopify is very often requiring proof of a physical business presence. So they actually want to see, do you have a physical presence in the U.S., or are you only based outside the U.S.? And this can come up during the verification process. So, what are some examples of physical business presence? An office or warehouse lease agreement. This demonstrates your business operates from a physical location. Utility bills, which are registered in your business's name at a U.S. address. And another thing you can do is actually have a physical office here. Now, if you have a physical office here, that could again open up effectively connected income considerations, which would impact your tax status. But the thing I would say here is Doola actually has a partner with a mailing provider that can get you a physical office with a lease that has been verified to work for Amazon FBA or for Shopify. So we have a partnership. If a physical address is required, this is an additional service you will have to pay for. Doola can refer you. You can get a little discount. You can sign up there directly. But again, I wanted to directly call out that Shopify might ask for this physical business requirement. If that happens, there's no way around it. You'll need to figure out a solution to get that physical business verification, which again can be a utility bill, an office or warehouse lease agreement, or actually having a physical address here with an address. Next up, setting up Shopify Payments to actually show you what the process looks like. Now that your paperwork and initial registration processes are ticked off the checklist, it's actually very simple to activate Shopify Payments. Honestly, it's the pre-work and getting the information, which is harder. So here's the process. Step one is you're going to want to access Shopify's admin. So log into your Shopify account, go to settings, and then go to payments. From there, you'll click the button which says set up or activate Shopify Payments. You'll be prompted to enter your U.S. business and banking information, and then you're going to need to submit information on your business as well as documentation. Upload the required identification and verification documents and other necessary business information. Now you'll see here that you'll actually have to choose the type of entity you have. So you formed your LLC. Again, that was a required part of the process. So you'll choose LLC, and then you'll have to provide some of the information, such as your EIN or that tax identification number. If Shopify asks for that ITIN, you might need to get the ITIN. If Shopify asks for your physical address, you might need to get that too. But what you can do to start here is start by putting in your EIN and registered agent address, see what happens, see if Shopify asks for the additional verification. If you want to play it really safe, you could go ahead and maybe take those additional steps, but I really would recommend chatting with a CPA in the US to make sure you feel fully confident about the tax implications of those additions, the ITIN and the physical address, which does depend based on where you're based, what country you're in, and what treaty your country has with the US when it comes to taxes. I want to stress the importance of actually consulting a tax professional. The truth is, navigating the complexities of U.S. business laws and tax regulations as a non-U.S. resident can feel overwhelming. I know it because we've been there. That's the reason why Doola exists, actually. We wanted to help non-U.S. residents set up a U.S. business, get a bank account so they could sell on Shopify or Amazon. So therefore, please do engage with a tax professional because ultimately, it gives you complete peace of mind. A tax professional like a CPA and Doola, you can do a consultation with us, will help run through state-specific LLC requirements to make sure you meet unique state regulations, make sure your business entity is set up correctly and efficiently. They also can help with federal and state tax filings, so the paperwork, deadlines, filings, which reduces stress, but most importantly saves you time. And then there's understanding tax obligations, a clear explanation of U.S. tax rules specifically for non-U.S. residents to help you stay on the right side of the tax code. Because I know no one wants to intentionally pay fines, you want to keep your profits, and you don't want to fall out of compliance with the IRS. So at the end of the day, you could technically do all this on your own, but that's why Doola exists. Literally, our goal is to help you focus on what you do best while Doola handles the rest. So to summarize, by setting up a U.S.-based e-commerce LLC, getting an EIN, opening up a U.S. business bank account, a non-U.S. resident can successfully leverage Shopify Payments, which unlocks a world of opportunities. Remember, there might be a case where you need an ITIN or you need a physical address for proof of address, and Doola can provide support either in-house or through referrals for that if Shopify asks for verification. And ultimately, with the right foundation, your Shopify store can operate seamlessly, accept payments efficiently, and scale globally. So again, very quick recap. Step 1, register a US-based LLC, choose the right state, file formation documents, appoint a registered agent. Step 2, get an EIN. Again, you can do this directly through the IRS or use a service like Doola to streamline and expedite the process. Step 3, open a US business bank account. This is required for receiving Shopify payment payouts. Step 4, provide valid identification. This ensures compliance with Shopify's KYC requirements. Step 5, verify a physical US address, essential for Shopify's verification process. Step 6, activate Shopify Payments. So submit your details and require documents. By following these steps, you're going to be well on your way to running a successful US-based e-commerce business from anywhere in the world, even if you're operating outside the US. And at Doola, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs worldwide, again, not just in the US, but outside the US, start and scale to a US-based e-commerce business. Whether it's the formation, the EIN acquisition, bookkeeping, sales tax, reseller certificates, tax compliance, our goal is to focus on handling the unsexy yet critical back office so you can just focus on growing your store, what you're best at. So if you're ready to take the next step, head over to doola.com. You can start your LLC and start the journey to unlocking Shopify Payments today. That's it. That's a wrap for today's video. I really hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below. The team's happy to help. Don't forget to like the video and please subscribe if you found value. Thanks again. Hope to chat with you soon. Hope to work with you soon and see you in the next video.